Not exactly the revolution that would result if we achieved cold fusion, but it is notable that room temperature superconductivity has been achieved for the first time, quoting MIT Technology Review. Room temperature superconductors, materials that conduct electricity with zero resistance without needing special cooling, are the sort of technological miracle that could upend daily life. They could revolutionize the electric grid and enable levitating trains, among many other potential applications. But until now, superconductors have had to be cooled to extremely low temperatures, which has restricted them to use as a niche technology, albeit an important one. For decades, it seemed that room temperature superconductivity might be out of reach forever. But in the last 5 years, a few research groups around the world have been engaged in a race to attain it in the lab, and one of them just won. In a paper published today in Nature, researchers report achieving room temperature superconductivity in a compound containing hydrogen, sulfur, and carbon at temperatures as high as 58 degrees Fahrenheit, 13.3 Celsius, or 287.7 Kelvin. The previous highest temperature had been 260 Kelvin, or 8 degrees Fahrenheit, achieved by a rival group at George Washington University and the Carnegie Institution in Washington, D.C. in 2018. Another group at the Max Planck Institute for Chemistry in Germany achieved 250 degrees Kelvin, or negative 9.7 degrees Fahrenheit, at around the same time. Like the previous records, the new record was attained under extremely high pressures, roughly 2.5 million times greater than that of the air we breathe. It's a landmark, says Jose Flores-Livas, a computational physicist at the Sapienza University of Rome, who creates models that explain high-temperature superconductivity and was not directly involved in the work. The ways in which electricity is generated, transmitted, and distributed could be fundamentally transformed by cheap and effective room-temperature superconductors bigger than a few millionths of a meter. About 5% of the electricity generated in the United States is lost in transmission and distribution, according to the Energy Information Administration. Eliminating this loss would, for starters, save billions of dollars and have a significant climate impact. But room temperature superconductors wouldn't just change the system we have, they'd enable a whole new system. Transformers, which are crucial to the electric grid, could be made smaller, cheaper, and more efficient. So too could electric motors and generators. Superconducting energy storage is currently used to smooth out short-term fluctuations in the electric grid, but it still remains relatively niche because it takes a lot of energy to keep superconductors cold. Room temperature superconductors, especially if they could be engineered to withstand strong magnetic fields, might serve as very efficient ways to store larger amounts of energy for longer periods of time, making renewable but intermittent energy sources like wind turbines or solar cells more effective. And because flowing electricity creates magnetic fields, superconductors can also be used to create powerful magnets for applications as diverse as MRI machines and levitating trains. Superconductors are of great potential importance to the nascent field of quantum computing as well. Superconducting qubits are already the basis of some of the world's most powerful quantum computers. Being able to make such qubits without having to cool them down would not only make quantum computers simpler, smaller, and cheaper, but could lead to more rapid progress in creating systems of many qubits, depending on the exact properties of the superconductors that are created. It remains to be seen whether scientists can devise stable compounds that are superconducting, not only at ambient temperature, but also at ambient pressure. But the researchers are optimistic. They conclude their paper with this tantalizing claim, quote, "A robust room temperature superconducting material that will transform the energy economy, quantum information processing, and sensing may be achievable," end quote.